PR Connections Radio presents
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele, and on this edition of Vegas Hockey Hub Recap, we're going to be breaking down the most recent game that happened with your Vegas Golden Knights. So it's going to be a very exciting time and really fun to be going on and talking about. And this was a really fun game at T-Mobile Arena. A lot of excitement, a lot of passion, a good amount of action in this game. And it's going to be a very fun episode to break down and discuss here on Vegas Hockey Hub on PRConnectionsRadio.com. Go to the website, PRConnectionsRadio.com. Check out all the amazing shows we have on the network. We have about a dozen shows on here, including Vegas Hockey Hub. So go to the network and support it. If you also want to go to the YouTube channel and subscribe and like our videos, that would help us out a lot. If you also want to go to our social media pages at Vegas Hockey Hub, and we are on all major platforms. And if you want to follow your host, I am on all social media platforms at Ian J. Rachiele. Man, I mean, we have to start this off by stating the obvious because this has not been talked about yet. But welcome to the brand new studio that we have for Vegas Hockey Hub. For the past month, we have been doing audio only, and that is because we have been working on and building up the studio you see behind me. So we have a new background now. It is not just a plain white wall. You have the studio behind us, and we've been collecting some stuff since the Winter Classic back on January 1st, and we have our wall now set up behind us. This is our new design, our new background for Vegas Hockey Hub. And hopefully this will be a lot better, not an eyesore like just a white background was for the longest time. But yeah, very excited to announce this. So the new studio behind us, and this will be the first one for Vegas Hockey Hub Recap that you're seeing on this episode today. Now, to start this out, we have to go to the pre-game notes. And for pre-game notes, unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to a Golden Knight, as it was reported that defenseman Braden Bahal has been claimed by the Calgary Flames. So unfortunately, sports hockey is a business, and waiver claims do happen. Braden Bahal, he was not waiver exempt, so when the Vegas Golden Knights tried to send him down to Henderson, he got picked up by the Calgary Flames. So Braden Bahal, he had been with the Vegas Golden Knights system for a couple of years. He was even the captain of the Henderson Silver Knights at one point. And Braden Bahal, really good guy, stand-up person. I mean, this is someone who I actually think had some good potential here in Vegas and showed some really quality stuff here in Vegas. So, unfortunately, this is just sports. This is business. And I know it's never personal. But, yeah, so unfortunately for the Vegas Golden Knights, they have to say goodbye to defenseman Braden Bahal as he got claimed by the Calgary Flames. And I wish him well. Obviously, regardless if it's in the AHL, if he's playing for the Heat, or if he is playing for the Calgary Flames, I do wish Braden Bahal well. So I will say goodbye to Braden Bahal and wish you well in Calgary as he's been claimed by them. And the trade deadline, that is about a month away. So I wanted to give some possible trade ideas, just take about a minute and really look at what our trade options could be with your Vegas Golden Knights, because there are so many good players that are on the trade block right now. And, you know, I only got 4, and this is going to be really what I'm going to be focusing on. Like, this is not just, this is just spitballing here, but this is about 4 players that I really look at and say maybe they can make Vegas a better team overall. So just want to take about a minute and go over some trade deadline ideas that your Vegas Golden Knights could go over when it comes to the trade deadline. Now, the first player that I do look at and think maybe we could go after is from the Ottawa Senators, a former Stanley Cup champion, and that is Vladimir Tarasenko. I mean, Vladimir Tarasenko, his cap hit would not be that too big. And more importantly, if they get him in Vegas, it would give him a chance to be a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. Now, the only two concerns I have for Vladimir Tarasenko, the first one is that he would be a rental. So it would just be half a season trying to win a Stanley Cup, and then goodbye, you're going to be gone, and we're not going to see you after that season. And then the second con I could potentially see is that this would be the second season in a row that he would get traded at the trade deadline. Last year, he got sent to the New York Rangers to try to help them win a Stanley Cup. Unfortunately, that did not happen for them. Luckily, the Vegas Golden Knights won a Stanley Cup. But, Vladimir Tarasenko, if he does get traded, I think Vegas would be a really solid fit. He would be a good top 6 forward to have for depth for your Vegas Golden Knights. But yeah, Vladimir Tarasenko, I think, would be a really solid player for your Vegas Golden Knights. And he is someone that if we did acquire or did go get, he is someone who could really be a game changer for those last 20 games in the regular season, and someone that your Vegas Golden Knights could really take advantage of. The second player that I'm going to mention that we could maybe get, and this is just me spitballing here, but, everyone loves a reunion. Everyone loves having somebody come back to an organization. And the second player I'm talking about is Riley Smith. Now, the Pittsburgh Penguins, unfortunately, it just has not panned out. Riley Smith has dealt with some injuries with the Pittsburgh Penguins. And if the Vegas Golden Knights can make the cap work, if the Vegas Golden Knights can find a way to make the cap situation kind of pan out, I would highly recommend calling up the Pittsburgh Penguins and trying to get a trade and trying to reacquire a fan favorite in Riley Smith. Now, I know this one is probably not going to happen. I understand that. But this would be a trade that I really think would help the Vegas Golden Knights more than anything. And I could really see it being a positive for the Vegas Golden Knights. And then the final two players that I will mention, one of them is a really good piece and someone that I really think could be doing benefits for the Vegas Golden Knights. The only problem is that he is a division rival. So because he's a division rival, I could see them maybe jacking up the price a little bit. And that would be Anthony Duclair from the San Jose Sharks. I mean, San Jose Sharks, they are a dumpster fire, one of the worst teams in hockey. So Anthony Duclair, if he goes from San Jose to Vegas, I could see that happening, no doubt. I just kind of wonder if, when it comes to the San Jose Sharks, because they are division rivals, because of the rivalry there, would we have to overpay for someone like Anthony Duclair? That's just something that I'm wondering on that front. And then the last player that I will mention, because this is a guy that I've been watching for a while. He is out there in the Washington Capitals organization, but I have liked his playing ability for the longest time. I think he would be a great player to have for the Vegas Golden Knights, and that would be Anthony Manta of the Washington Capitals. I remember him, a couple of years ago being with the Detroit Red Wings, and man, he was a solid player in Detroit. I remember one time, I think he ran over Marc-Andre Fleury, gave him a concussion, but the past is the past. Anthony Mantha would be a really solid addition, a good defensive forward. He is solid, good energy type of guy in the locker room. So the four players that I'm going to talk about when it comes to possible trade ideas for your Vegas Golden Knights. Now, the first one that I mentioned came from, the first one that I did mention was Vladimir Tarasenko. There's been a lot of rumors and speculation about him coming here to Vegas. The second one was Riley Smith, getting a reunion of sorts and bringing him back. The third one was Anthony Duclair of the San Jose Sharks. This is a guy that, was with the Florida Panthers last year when they took on Vegas in the Stanley Cup final. And then the fourth one would be Anthony Manta out there in Washington, a solid defensive forward. I like his ability there. So go on Twitter at Vegas Hockey Hub. If you're watching the show right now, use the hashtag Vegas Hockey Hub and let us know. What do you think? Who's going to get traded to the Vegas Golden Knights? Because those are the four options that I laid out. Tarasenko, Duclair, Riley Smith, and Anthony Manta. So that's just my ideas, kind of spitballing there, giving you some possible trade ideas. Now, continuing with the Vegas Hockey Hub recap show, here was some practice news that did break. William Karlsson has returned to practice. to William Karlsson, who did suffer an injury, unfortunately, with your Vegas Golden Knights. He has returned to practice. He's in a normal jersey, skating around with the team. That was good news, as we did get him back for the Vegas Golden Knights and actually would be playing in this game against the Edmonton Oilers. So really solid news there. The fact that William Karlsson is back and skating around in a normal jersey. And then Ben Hutton being in a red jersey alongside Tobias Bjornfoot. So Tobias Bjornfoot, he has been hurt for a while now. And then Ben Hutton, he had that injury against the LA Kings. They've been trying to rehab him and get him back into the organization. So Ben Hutton and Tobias Bjornfoot in a red jersey. William Karlsson returning to practice in a normal jersey. Now, the pregame notes for your Vegas Golden Knights, they had a couple of recalls before the game kicked off. Brendan Brisson, Jonas Raunbjerg, and Sheldon Rempel have been recalled from Henderson. So just to talk about it, Brendan Brisson and Jonas Raunbjerg, they did play in this game against Edmonton. Sheldon Rempel would be a healthy scratch in tonight's game. But really solid, the Vegas Golden Knights did make some recalls, obviously due to injuries and all of that aspect. That's why it had to be done. And speaking of injuries, Pavel Dorofeev is out once again. So that hit he took from Jacob Trouba that earned Trouba a 2-game suspension. That did cause Dorofeev to suffer an injury, and he has been out once again from this game. He was out in the Detroit game as well. So Brisson, Raunbjerg, and Rempel recalls from Henderson. Dorofeev is out. And the starting lineup for your Vegas Golden Knights in this game, you had Barbashev, Waugh, and Marchessault on line 1. This connection has been fantastic over the last 2 weeks. They have been a really efficient unit. On line 2, you have Paul Cotter, Chandler Stevenson, and your captain. So Paul Cotter, once again, being trusted to take care of that second line alongside 2 veterans and 2 staples of the Golden Knights roster. Line 3 will be Jonas Raunbjerg, William Karlsson, and Michael Amadio. So William Karlsson, like I said, returned from practice, would be in the lineup. Raunbjerg were recalled from Henderson. And then the very dependable and reliable Michael Amadio. And then the fourth line has really been shaken up, but you have Brendan Brisson, Brett Howden, and Keegan Kolazar on the fourth line for your Vegas Golden Knights. And in net for your Vegas Golden Knights, after making his return, he had an excellent performance against the New York Islanders. He did really solid against the New York Rangers, and now he is back in net for your Vegas Golden Knights. Adin Hill. So Adin Hill making his 3rd game in his return back from injury, taking on the Edmonton Oilers in this game tonight at T-Mobile Arena, at the Fortress for the Vegas Golden Knights. And Adin Hill, he has done what's more positive words I could say about Adin Hill except spectacular. Okay, he has been excellent for the Vegas Golden Knights since his return from injury. He has really showed that he hasn't lost a step at all when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights and what they have at this point in time. So for your Vegas Golden Knights, Adin Hill being in net, and he will be in the crease for Vegas. And after having the national anthem, where you have the Canadian national anthem and the United States national anthem, it was time to kick off this game and get it started at T-Mobile Arena. And this game would start out with a penalty against the Edmonton Oilers, as Dylan Holloway would have a high-sticking penalty against Jonathan Marchessault, and that would put the Vegas Golden Knights on the NV Energy power play. And unfortunately for the Vegas Golden Knights, this would not go in their favor, as your Vegas Golden Knights would be on a 5-on-4 situation, but when you have Connor McDavid out there on the ice, you never know what's going to happen, and he can even go around and get a shorthanded goal for Edmonton. Well, it turns out that's exactly what he did, as 4 minutes into the first period, Connor McDavid, with his 21st goal of the season, assisted by Leon Draisaitl to make it a 1-0 game early on. I mean, Connor McDavid, he is so deadly when he has the puck on his stick. I mean, his speed, his quickness, his elusiveness. I mean, this is a guy who has been really the best hockey player in the world for the last couple of years now, and he has shown it every single night. I mean, when he is in the lineup and when he's skating around, he is an option every single time he gets that puck on his stick. So for Connor McDavid, 21st goal of the season, a shorthanded goal for Edmonton. And, you know, McDavid and Draisaitl, they have been the main force around the Edmonton Oilers and their winning streak that they have had as of late. I mean, this is an Edmonton Oilers team that have been winning every single game pretty much all of December, all of January. I mean, this was a team that was just really establishing themselves over the last 2 months. And, you know, there's a reason why they are going to be fighting for that division spot in the Pacific. So Connor McDavid makes it 1-0 for Edmonton. And the Vegas Golden Knights, there was a few opportunities in the first period to get the puck into the back of the net. In fact, there was one opportunity that I actually kind of was looking at and seeing if Vegas could get it past. There was a moment in the game where Caden Korczak was in the high slot. He was actually shooting it, and I thought maybe it went in. Maybe there's a shot that it went past, but unfortunately, it just, you know, redirected, did not go in the net. That was very disappointing. But with 2 minutes left in the first period, somebody did connect for your Vegas Golden Knights. Someone was able to score a goal for Vegas, and it has been the guy that they have counted on to step up ever since there was an injury to a guy like Jack Eichel. And of course, I am talking about the first-line center, a guy who has been able to kind of help Barbashev and Marchessault ever since he has been put on the first line. And with 2 minutes left in the first period, Nick Waugh with his 10th goal of the season, assisted by Alex Pietrangelo to make it a 1-1 game for the Vegas Golden Knights as they would tie it up, get toward the end of the first period. And Nick Waugh has really shown, like, he has had an audition to be better than a fourth-line center, and he has nailed his audition. I mean, he has just been really proficient over the last 10 games of the Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, this is a Nick Waugh who's just mostly been known as a fourth-line center, occasionally on the third line if they need be, but he really hasn't been given an opportunity to do anything else. So over the last 10 games for Nick Waugh, what a great opportunity he has had. I mean, just putting it into perspective, Nick Waugh is on a 5-game point streak at this moment in time. And ever since he got put on that first line, he has had 7 games with a point. So it really shows you that when it comes to Nick Waugh, he has just done a fantastic job. He has had multiple point games while being on that line with Barbashev and with Marchessault. He had a 3-point performance, I believe, against the New Jersey Devils back in a couple of games ago. So Nick Waugh has really done solid. He has had about 4 goals since being on the first line. So Nick Waugh taking advantage of an opportunity and definitely making sure that he capitalizes on it. So Nick Waugh, 10th goal of the season. It was a good setup by Nick Waugh and Alex Pietrangelo to get this goal and to really set up what was going to go on for the remainder of the game. I could also tell that the energy in the building as that goal happened, it was like, okay, we're in this. We got this. So at the end of the first period, it was tied at 1 between Edmonton and Vegas. And the second period, there wasn't much in terms of goal scoring or in terms of actually shooting the puck around and getting it to where it needed to be. There was an opportunity by Stevenson where he went left, and I thought maybe he had a wrist shot there, but it just did not get past Stuart Skinner, so it remained at 1. But there was 2 penalties in the second period. About 5 minutes into the second period, Caden Korczak would get a slashing penalty against Evander Kane. I don't blame him. I mean, Evander Kane, I would slash him too. I mean, he is just a menace for the Vegas Golden Knights. He has been a Vegas Golden Knights menace for the last 5-6 years, even when he was back in San Jose. So yeah, the rivalry with Evander Kane, I would understand that too. And then a couple minutes later, the Edmonton Oilers would get sent to the box as there was a holding the stick penalty against Nick Hague. So the Vegas Golden Knights did not capitalize on this. In fact, the Vegas Golden Knights went 0 for 2 on the power play but they went 1 for 1 on the penalty kill. So the special teams was kind of half and half in this game. Penalty kill did what they needed to do, but the power play did not do what they needed to do for your Vegas Golden Knights. And the second period would come to a close. It'd still be tied at 1 between Vegas and Edmonton. And there was multiple missed calls. We got to talk about this real quick. I don't know if it's because they were on national TV. I don't know if it's because they were trying to not be biased and not show favoritism. But there was so many missed calls in this game on both sides. I mean, there was missed calls on Vegas. There was missed calls on Edmonton. Like, the referees were terrible in this game. And I know that it's not respectful, and I know it's not courteous to call out the referees. But when you've missed 5 or 6 calls in a single game, when there's a holding penalty, when there was a tripping penalty that you did not call, I mean, come on now. I mean, when you do stuff like that, you deserve to be called out. When you've done it 5, 6, 7 times in a single hockey game, it was just ridiculous. I mean, in the second period, there was at least 4 penalties that could have been called, and it did not get called. So, really bad refereeing in this game, and it's unfortunate to say that, but it's just the reality that this game just was very sloppy, and the referees did not do what they needed to do in this game in the second period. So, I just had to call that to attention real quick because I just noticed it. There was like 4 or 5 calls that really should have been calls, but they wanted to play it safe, or they just didn't want to show favoritism, and they just were not called for either side. Now, to begin the third period, and in fact, not even 90 seconds in to the third period, Chandler Stevenson with his 9th goal of the season, assisted by Jonathan Marchessault and Paul Cotter to make it a 2-1 game for Vegas. And, man, Chandler Stevenson, he has done relatively a solid job with Vegas. I mean, 9 goals on the year as a middle 6 forward. I mean, at this point, he's no longer the top line guy that he was, maybe a year or 2 ago. But at this moment in time, for Chandler Stevenson to be doing what he's doing on the middle 6, him and Paul Cotter, I've shown a little bit of chemistry there with Cotter and Stevenson on the same line. But Chandler Stevenson, 9th goal of the season, would put your Vegas Golden Knights up by 1 in this situation. And after some good physicality and some good back and forth between both teams, with an empty net pulled by Edmonton, your Vegas Golden Knights would end this game on a positive note, as William Karlsson would score an empty netter, his 16th goal of the season, assisted by Chandler Stevenson and your captain, to make it a 3-1 game for the Vegas Golden Knights. And that would be the end of it. That would be game over. There would be cheers and celebration from everybody at the Fortress at T-Mobile Arena. And what a great third period this was for Vegas. The discipline was there. I saw that they were, efficient. The energy was up. I could tell that they were skating with a purpose. And the Vegas Golden Knights scoring 2 impactful goals against the Edmonton Oilers. Just a stellar job there. I have to give a lot of credit to the Vegas Golden Knights in that period, because the Vegas Golden Knights, they pick up the win here at T-Mobile Arena. And the Vegas Golden Knights, they're trying to fight in the Pacific Division. They're trying to stay in that situation right now. I commend it. I applaud it at this moment in time. The fact that the Vegas Golden Knights pick up a victory against a division rival who has kind of been building up and building up and building up momentum over the past 2 months. So to pick up a victory there, now it's about 2 months away, so it's kind of early to say this, but, looking at the Edmonton Oilers, could that be a potential matchup there? I mean, you're seeing Vancouver, you're seeing Vegas, you're seeing Edmonton, you're seeing LA. Understanding the current playoff format is pretty much Pacific Division versus Pacific Division, Central versus Central, Metro versus Metro, Atlantic versus Atlantic. Could Edmonton be a potential playoff matchup? That's a possibility there. But yeah, Vegas Golden Knights picking up a key win and an impactful victory for Vegas. Here is the win-loss record for your Vegas Golden Knights, picking up another key, vital win for Vegas. So your Vegas Golden Knights at this moment in time still battling with Edmonton and Vancouver for the standings in the Pacific Division. LA has kind of gotten a little bit stagnant. We'll see how they kind of rebound. And Seattle has been hot and cold at times. So we're going to have to watch out for Seattle to see what they have done on that end. So Vegas Golden Knights at this moment in time, still in the Pacific Division, still holding a playoff spot at this moment in time. And our player of the game, I mean, who else is going to go to? I mean, player of the game has to go with the goaltender who was on his head and stopped 30 shots on net against the Edmonton Oilers, and that is Adin Hill. Now, I've had Adin Hill as player of the game multiple times this season, and it is well-deserved. When Adin Hill is on it, he is a top 3 goalie in the NHL. Okay, when Adin Hill is running on all cylinders, he is like a Connor Hellebuck. When he's running on all cylinders, he is like an Igor Shesterkin. This is a guy who is an elite goaltender when he is at 100% and he is running at full capacity. So Adin Hill, incredible job tonight. Player of the game goes to him. And I have to give props and a little bit of credit to Chandler Stevenson as well. He had a 2-point night. He had a goal to take the lead in the third period. Then he had an assist on the William Karlsson empty netter. So Chandler Stevenson, 2-point performance tonight for Vegas. Have to give him props there. And it is over. The streak is captured. So, we're not talking about the Undertaker streak in WrestleMania. We're talking about the Edmonton Oilers streak and how that they have snapped their winning streak here in the NHL. And it was done by your Vegas Golden Knights. That's very happy to see that your Vegas Golden Knights are on that end there. And then the team stats, and we got about a few minutes left. The team stats overall are very important to talk about, as your Vegas Golden Knights would be outshot by Edmonton 31-26, but they out-hit Edmonton 18-15. Vegas only had 1 penalty in the game. That was the Caden Korczak slashing penalty. Edmonton had 2. In the faceoff circle, Edmonton won 53% of the faceoffs, so Edmonton had a little bit of an advantage there. On the power play, Vegas went 0 for 2. Edmonton went 0 for 1. And the blocked shots for Vegas, this was key in this game. The Vegas Golden Knights had 26 blocked shots in this game, compared to the 17 by Edmonton. So 26 blocked shots by the Vegas Golden Knights. By the way, Nick Hague blocked 4 shots in this game. So Nick Hague really stepped up for the Vegas Golden Knights on that same line with Zach Whitecloud. So we're seeing that Nick Hague is really becoming an established defenseman, really growing into his own. And another key statistic that we are going to be mentioning is the takeaways. The Vegas Golden Knights had 12 takeaways in this game compared to only 2 by Edmonton. So have to give props and credit to the Vegas Golden Knights. A solid victory tonight by the VGK. And since we're here on Vegas Hockey Hub Recap, I do want to mention once again, go to prconnectionsradio.com, the voice of new media. Check out all the amazing content on there. We're going to be doing the recap show for the Arizona Coyotes when that happens next. That is the next upcoming game. It will be at Mullet Arena in Arizona, and we will be here to do the Vegas Hockey Hub recap show. That's going to be a fun and fantastic game to discuss here on Vegas Hockey Hub. And until next time, I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. Continue watching hockey, go support junior hockey, and go Knights, go.